Looks like we got some more news out there again. You know, they're talking about the profitability is rolling over. You know, the profit margins have been rolling over. Now, I know in 2013, if you bought the miners, you would have had your ass handed to you. That was the only freaking time, that was the only part of the equities practically that really got clobbered. Like the S&P did great, got a 30% gain, the biggest percentage gain in 16 years, despite all the talk about taper, possible correction. But, you know, it's almost, I consider the S&P in a bubble because of the PE ratio, the profitability is going down. And actually, it's more, a lot of it too, when you look at it, it's in with connected businesses where, you know, stimulus money was propping up the mega banks and stuff like that. A lot of that's figured into this Dow and all that type of stuff too, you know. So, but what's really going on in the economy, you know, I really like that chart with the retail sales of gasoline when they showed from 2006 to 2007. Wham! Talking retail sales, not wholesale, not to like commercial, vendors and stuff. Retail, in other words, retail is where at the pump. In other words, where people go out on the weekend or they drive to work. If all that stuff is down, that means the economy is not hustling and bustling. And we do know that's a fact that it ain't. It ain't. It's, in other words, the GDP is up, but if you take out all the excess government spending, which is all fueled by all-time record debt, GDP is down. But I also want to say this. The problems are everywhere. You know, you get these idiots on the YouTube or whatever. Don't include me, man, because I'm mainly doing this for fun in some ways because, I'll tell you, like, I worked in accounting and finance. Accounting, despite, like, I got money and stuff, but I can get more money, and it makes me think about this, but then I don't really like the professionals too much, you know what I mean? Depends on who it is. I usually like working with aggressive entrepreneur types, but those type of people, I got to keep making them like, they give me, even if they pay me well, I got to make them like a ridiculous amount of money. So I'm like, screw those idiots, man. And their families are all fucked up too, just to give you some blatant, honest information there. So I play around with this, and I can do anything I want on YouTube, so I like this shit. But accounting and finance is the most secure, lucrative job out there, practically, in tax work and everything else. It is, and it's one of the few areas in the last 10 years that's had a growing demand. So I ain't worried about it. But I realize though, in the future, it may not be the case. It may not be the case. So I know a variety of different things, but when we have this information, I just want to put about, would say, Pastor Lindsey Williams, the guy that sells you a DVD for $95 or tries to sell it to you or whatever. He tells you that, the emerging markets are all trading between themselves, not using a dollar. Big deal. The fact is, their currencies are getting clobbered. And you know what's going to happen in the future with them? Oil is going to go up, especially priced in their local currencies. As a matter of fact, even countries like Russia, the GDP is negative. A lot of these emerging markets, the GDP is negative. They got really bad growth. Now, I know in the United States, when they're talking, the GDP is up. A lot of it's from government spending. GDP is also with the professional shitheads on Wall Street, whatever I want to call them. It's part of that. I mean, GDP is including a lot of garbage that shouldn't be, like research and development. They used to not include that. But the truth is, all economies in the world are doing bad. And you know what it's really doing? It is excess government regulation and environmental regulation, too. In our country, excessive environmental regulation. But it's government regulation as a whole in all these countries is screwing up the economy. Because, you might say, there's always people, workaholics, that will work and innovate, provided they're not stifled by government regulation. So the economy will actually really roll forth very well without too much regulation. That's really what's stifling the economy across the entire globe. But what's going on is, all countries are trying to stimulate their economies, and actually it's devaluing their currencies. Now, you should be seeing gold and silver going up against that, but let me put it to you this way. They're manipulated. Oil's manipulated too. But you know, the thing is with oil, there's a lot more money going into oil every day because it's used for production of goods and services, right? Correct? Actually, there's a fine balance between GDP and oil prices. Like if the oil prices go up a little bit, GDP goes way the hell down. You know, so that's why there's a limit. But you have to remember, like, they manipulate the silver prices because it makes the dollar look bad. They manipulate even gold prices because it makes the dollar look bad. But if you look at what happened with oil prices over the last, I don't know, since they crashed in, I don't know, 2008, it was down to $35. It's around almost 100, or it's 93 or whatever the hell it is. Between 93 and 100, right? Oil hasn't been going down. Did oil really crash during the precious metals crash like the way the precious metals all crashed in April of 2013? No. No. Why is that? That was actually an attack. That's if you really want to call it that. But you see, nobody is really... See, precious metals, for the, like, especially like gold, is a buy and a hold. You're going to hold that forever. Oil, you're constantly selling it. You want to keep the price high. And actually, when things really cook, oil is probably going to go to $150 to $200 a barrel. When we see silver prices up there around well over 50, that's what we're probably going to see. You're going to actually see a lot of problems where the average person is not going to be able to afford to drive anywhere. When we saw these retail sales of gasoline going down here recently to half what they were practically 5 years ago. We're talking like the average person retail sales of gasoline, which means, you know, they're not driving around as much because they're trying to economize. Well, we're seeing that it's going to happen. It's going to even be more acute than that. And the real economy is very stagnant. But the way I look at it is, you want to actually be as independent as possible. Totally independent. What I'd like to see is, I'd like to see blue-collar worker totally conquer Wall Street. But you know, it's going to take a lot of brains to do that. That's the thing. It's not going to be a matter of, I can work harder than them. You're going to have to out-shrewd them. You're going to have to outsmart them. And you're going to have to be as cold-blooded as them and smile at them at the same time and be nice. That's what it really takes. That's what it takes. I can't stand it like a lot of professionals. You know, I mean, some ways some of them are good. You know, I mean, I might criticize doctors sometimes. Depends on who it is. But for what they get paid, they ain't worth that. They ain't worth that kind of money. Doctors get $300,000 to $500,000 a year. They ain't worth that kind of money. Joke, man. It's ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. Of course, they'd love to freaking prescribe all the plants and herbs on the earth, too. Just like Wall Street wants to own all the money, right? Same deal. Screw all of them. And you notice I've been putting out a lot more videos on how to do stuff because I think those are more important in a lot of ways. But I do want to say that Eric Sprott, he's going to have a serious comeback someday. And, you know, the guy went, I heard he was like a billionaire or whatever the hell it is. Now he's like $300-something million. He's going to have a serious comeback. He's probably going to have twice as much money as he ever had in his whole life. As long as the government doesn't come after him, you know. Which is one thing I think they're going to do. And when silver really does get legs, the government's going to actually come after it. That is why, you know, if you really want to be smart with your wealth, is that you want to be low-key. You don't want to show anything that's taxable. You don't want to show any kind of income. You don't want to live a highfalutin lifestyle or anything like that. You want to play way below the radar. That's the way to go. Actually, I can tell you there's a number of people that are pretty wealthy and they do that. I've seen it before. People driving old cars with 170,000 miles on them. They might be in good shape. They got a lot of money. People walking around like with, you know, old jeans and stuff like that and stuff. They don't look like they got money. They got money. It's usually the people that try to show they got a lot of money. Well, those are the type of people that lose their money anyway, but they don't have it. Some of the most wealthy people out there, and I don't want to talk too much about this because, you know, they could be buying, I mean, they could buy a $100,000 car like nothing. Like you buying a pack of chewing gum, and they'll buy something that might cost, I don't know, $18,000 or $20,000. Like not, and because they're not spending the money. And that's actually how they got the money in the first place. That's actually how they got the money in the first place. So you can actually build your own wealth, but you got to be stealth. And if you take an old lesson from the lottery winners out there, you know what? They used to always give people a lottery winner, like, you know, whatever it was, you know, $6 million in one shot, or whatever it was, and they would spend it all. Actually, 90-something% of them, they'd spend all that money in 3 to 5 years, and after that period of time, they'd be worse off than they were when they actually won before they won the money. And the reason is because they shoot their damn big mouth off. That's the problem. And they got to show people how much money they have. So it takes a certain type of discipline and humility, you know, to hold that kind of wealth. You don't want to say shit to anybody. You don't want to say shit to nobody. As a matter of fact, you want to play the other way around. You want to play poor to the max. That is the shrewdest thing you can possibly do. That is the absolute shrewdest thing you can possibly do. And you don't want to waste anything. You know, as a matter of fact, you saw me put a video out there with, you know, changing some tires on a Jeep, whatever. I'm saving those old tires. You know what I'm going to do with them? I'm going to make planters out of them and put vegetable stuff in there or something. And first I want to figure out how to make them so they don't look like tires, though, because that looks tacky as all hell. But I figure, you know, the walls around it could make perfect secure place to put like high quality soil, and then when you put water in it, it can hold the water a lot better because of the rubber that's, you know, all around it, stuff like that. So you can make use of everything. But, you know, does that show up on your balance sheet? No. Does that show up on anything? No. Is it actually an ongoing benefit? Yes. Yes. You know, I can tell you some of the people with the biggest bucks going, they like to shop at Costco or something like that. I mean, whatever, you know? Looking around at eBay all day for the best deals going. Seriously, man. Seriously. I gave a story out about, this is from years ago, but I did it on another older video. The guy was multi-billionaires up in New York area. I was working for him when I was up in New Jersey years ago. And I was in a staff account at that time. And, you know, they were on the top Fortune 100 for family wealth. The books were done by Price Waterhouse. That's what it was, Price Waterhouse at the time, you know, the accounting firm. It's because anytime they wanted to go public, they already had audited financials. But even though they were on the top Fortune 100, you know, without looking at, you know, the Forbes list, whatever the hell it is, the Forbes list, the top 100 in Forbes, they were number 4 in the country. And the old guy, I don't want to say who he was, but he was the old guy. I call him the old guy. Not the guy that actually ran the place at the time, but the old guy. He's died since that now, but and he used to go around and say, like, yeah, how much did I pay for this shirt? How much did I pay for this shirt? He'd say, $5. $5. He says, yeah, I got him right down here. I go right down the street down here, and you know, right in the city. He says, you know, the guy's selling them here the same thing as in the store, $5. It's the same thing. It's a knockoff. You know, these other shirts are like 50. You know, talking back in the late 70s. You know, $50. I got the same thing for $5. This guy's got freaking like hundreds of millions of dollars. He's like saving money on shirts. Okay. think the same way. As a matter of fact, everybody does this when their back is pushed to the wall, but they don't do it under normal circumstances. That's part of your strategy too. That's part of your strategy too. But I do like the idea of silver because you're opting out of this stupid system. And since it's rigged, don't play. Don't play. Now I can tell you too, I'll say this. I got family that's he's a gambler, and he's a very good professional gambler. And he plays the, because I hear this crap. Was it Marino, whatever his name is? Wrote the book about gambling in Vegas. Well, and actually my uncle taught him originally, but I guess he did a lot better than my uncle. He plays down in Atlantic City. Actually, he was banned from a number of casinos because he's that damn good. But he'll go to these in-house special poker games. He'll win $50,000 and shit like that in one day. Well, basically, it's over a week or something. I guess it is, or something. I don't know. But very generous guy though too. Like somebody was in need, he gave him a house. He gave her a house. Somebody he didn't even have a relationship with. There you go. You can have it. Very generous person. Always giving to charities left and right too. Now I don't know that casino gambling shit, but I got family that does it, and actually they were actually when he got busted. Nothing happened though. He didn't get any. They had a raid or something. It was supposedly the biggest gambling ring in the state of New Jersey. They ever raided or something, But I ain't involved in that kind of shit. That's family though. Anyway, it's one of them. So anyway, I don't have any inside information on silver though. I'm not going to tell you I know the elite guy. I'm not going to give you any of that kind of shit. But I think, the manipulation days, they're numbered. They're numbered. And they can manipulate the shit all they want. I don't give a damn. Do whatever you want. You can think of it just like, manipulating the price of anything that's useful, that's never going to go away. Just buy more of it, right? Is that really that difficult to say? I mean, it's really to think about. If you're going to manipulate something down, and that's why you don't put all your money into it. I never said to do that. But if you're going to manipulate something down, I don't give a shit what it is. Something that's not going to go out of style, that's not something that's not going to lose value, something that's very easy to store, something that's not going to spoil. Just keep buying more of it. Screw them. That's what I look at it. Screw it, Later on, the people that are probably going to get burned, it's not Wall Street with the precious metals. It's going to be the middle class all over again. I know it. Because the pumpers are going to be out there left and right, and they're going to be telling everybody, the sky's falling, buy it any price there is. There's a limit to what the price is going to be. Believe me, there is going to be a limit. I'll be selling in pieces at that time. I will be. There's no doubt about it. And it's not too hard to figure out this casino game. You don't need to know too much about, with the cards and stuff. It's pretty simple to read. It's a very simple game to play. And it's going to work out. So just keep hoarding, And like I said, don't put all your money in this silver. A lot of people blow money on lunch. They blow, like I said, example with the people with, they have millions of dollars, they could buy, $100,000 Mercedes like nothing. They buy an old car, but they'd probably be buying something they could stuff away. They're always looking for value. That's what they do 24/7. That's why they got the money. You do the same thing. You do the same thing. But personally, I got a feeling, and maybe it's an intuition, that the accounting and finance area, the one that I've been in that's been great and it looks like it has a very good future, is going to be screwed up. I think in the future, the world is asking to belong to the blue-collar worker, because there's going to be a major backlash against the accounting and financial world. And once people figure things out, they don't need them. They're parasites. Think of the example of people on an island. accounting and finance is necessary to see information as to, you know, how to steer the ship and whatever. You know, how the economic climate's going. Is this the right way to go? Is it the wrong way to go? Or whatever. But the thing is, when you have a lot of it, it turns into a bunch of bullshit. We got a lot of overhead in our economy, and it's going into accounting finance. And I think that area is going to get clobbered. So keep stacking your silver and staying with the blue collar type stuff. It's more important for the future. That's what I'm doing. Oh, I always was a little bit blue collar anyway, but even though I did accounting finance mostly, always was a little bit blue collar. I hate playing like one of those professional dorks, and I never will, man. It's just how it is. Yeah, and Rocky Caesar says hi. He was just sleeping up here. I woke him up. He's doing okay, man. He's doing all right. He's still he's not going to get his microchip yet, though, because he'll have a heart attack if we ever try to put him in a cage and take him to the vet. So forget it. So he's just going to hang out here for now.